Welcome back, everybody. Necrassin here. This is episode 7 of Emberwood Bar. Now, to give a quick recap, Emberwood Bar is an open world player home mod for Skyrim. And when I say open world, that means there are no load doors. I'm going to put a little asterisk next to that. You'll see what I mean. There is no interior cell, though. It is open to the exterior world space. And it is modeled after this lovely little structure right here. This is Micklegate Bar, located in the city of York, England. And a bar is a gatehouse or a fortified entryway. So the lore behind this one, and you come down here, you can see we are located just outside Riverwood. There is Riverwood right there. And the lore behind this building is that at one time the residents of the town were planning to build a bar, a little gatehouse like this on each side of town, and build a wall around the city. They got this one done and just never had the finances to build the rest of it. So eventually it was converted to residential accommodations. So there have been a lot of little updates and additions and changes, and so we got a lot to talk about. First thing you'll notice that we have some ivy growing right here. There is some ivy growing on the side, and it should be. This building's been here a very long time. Well, according to the lore I've developed anyway. We've got some hanging moss from that window. There's some hanging moss from the turret up there. Hanging moss on those two windows. The gargoyle is gone. I didn't really like that with this mod, although I do like the gargoyle. And there's a little bit of hanging moss up there. And some more ivy on this side of the building. And a little more hanging moss up there. And you can harvest this. But you have to leave the area for 10 in-game days in order for this to respawn. So, I mean the hanging moss, that is. Okay, so, other changes out here. I have gone with the two smaller portcullises here, which are pushed right together, so it looks like one. And I replaced these pieces right here with the portcullis screws. I think that looks a little bit better. This serves no function whatsoever other than being historically accurate. It does not do anything for the mod. It's just there for historical accuracy. And I've got the same thing down at this end. Now, on the back here, the piece I used to fill in this wall right here, it was a column that I had retextured. And I ended up replacing that because I was running into a problem where I was encountering a collision barrier, which essentially is like an invisible wall, up on the roof. And I had to recruit some help from Kryman, a fellow modder, because I could not figure out what was causing that invisible wall up on the roof. And it turns out that the pillar that I had in here, the column, which only went up to about, well, I can't really say. It went up a little bit above the roof, but probably about where the bottom of the portcullis is. But its collision barrier went all the way up there. I never would have suspected that was it, but Kryman figured it out. So thank you for that. If you watch this, you've been a real help with that and a few other things with this mod. So I replaced those columns with these two, and these are working just fine. Okay. And there's a little more hanging moss there, and up there, right there by the chimney. Next, the nav meshing. I still need to nav mesh around the base, but the first level with the crafting stations is fully nav meshed. The second level, the living area is fully nav meshed, and the rooftop is also fully nav meshed. And I was starting to nav mesh these stairs, and these stairs go all the way up. These circular stairs go all the way up to the top of the tower. And that was proving to be a monumental headache. And I got to thinking about it. I was trying to decide if I actually wanted to do that. And there was two things that were kind of holding me back. One is the fact that trying to nav mesh those is, like I said, a monumental headache. But the other problem is the only reason to do that is so that NPCs can use them, which would be followers. And followers, the way follower mechanics work in a game, I think they try to maintain 256 units behind you. So wherever you go, they try to maintain that distance. But if you're going up circular stairs like this, you're not really moving away from them and moving beyond that 256 unit limit. And they have trouble following up, is essentially what it comes down to. I've encountered this problem in a couple of the Nordic ruins here in Skyrim. I think one of them was Emberwood. I could be wrong on that, but I think there's a woman in there that needs your help with something, and there's a spiral staircase in there, and she gets stuck at the base of it frequently. She has trouble going up those stairs because you're not really going away from, you're just going up. So I thought, okay, well, what am I going to do then? How am I going to get NPCs, because the other floors and the roof are all nav-meshed, how am I going to get NPCs to follow the player up there? Now, me personally, I don't use followers, but I know some people do, and I may publish this, so what I decided to do was add some teleport markers. And there they are. Now, we already have the ladder right here, which brings us up to the crafting area. But to get to the upper floors, you would have to use the stairs. And since I decided not to nav mesh the stairs, I've added these teleport markers right here. Or teleport devices, I should say. These have these little blue squares on them. They're actually sapphires. Well, statics of sapphires. The number of squares tell you what level it takes you to. This one down here has 2 squares, so it takes you to the second level, which is the living area. That's why I was saying there's no load doors, but there are teleport devices, even though there's no interior cell. You can see there's 3 of them on this shelf here right now. This one has no squares on it because that takes us to the ground level. This has 1 square, takes us to the crafting area. This one has 3, which takes us to the rooftop. And here we are. So you can get to any level from any level using these teleport devices, if you don't want to bother using the stairs. And yeah, you know, in my testing, I didn't use the stairs that much. It took too long. It's just easier to hit that. Okay, as you can see, the plantable soils are working, and we've even got butterflies who somehow have a magical ability to pass through items that have collision. I don't know why, but they can fly right through floors and walls. I don't know how they do it. Magical butterflies. But as you can see, all the planter soils are working. There are 18 here altogether. I did a little bit of work on the crenellations up there. They're not great, but they're better. And let's see. I did a little bit of work on those. Oh, the light source that's up here, I set the emittance for this one. You can set it to inverted, which like a day-night thing. So essentially the light source that's up here, it's off during the day. So in the evening, around I think like around 5 or 6 o'clock, it'll start to glow a little bit, and it'll get brighter and brighter over the next couple hours. And I think by like 8 or 9 o'clock, it'll be fully illuminated out here. But it's off during the day. I kind of like that effect, and I was tempted to do that with the other ones, but I decided not to, because you don't get a whole lot of daylight in here. So let's head downstairs. There have been a few little changes down here. I changed out the light sources that were here, here, and over here. And the reason is, if you look here at the enchanting table, and look at the illumination, not the enchanting table itself, but you can see how the illumination is just kind of bouncing around. These were all doing the same thing, and it was really starting to get annoying. This one out here was doing the same thing. Some of that was the light source, and some of it was candles. This does not have a light source, but it's the candles that are bouncing around causing that. And I had a candle here, so I replaced that with a torch and put in different light sources so they weren't bouncing around. I mean, it wasn't making me nauseous, but it was really, really annoying. This one especially was really annoying. So I replaced that light source as well, so now it's nice and steady. And I replaced the candle that was here with a torch that I shrunk down a little bit. And actually, I'm not sure that one was there. I may have added that one. And I've got one here, same thing. Let's see, what else? Oh, the cooking pot. Yes. I took away that device the cooking pot was hanging on. It was sitting on those stone blocks. I didn't like that. It just bugged me. So I took this piece right here, this kind of gold looking piece. This is actually a Dwemer banner holder. And I pushed it in the wall a little bit, and I'm hanging a cooking pot from that. And that works out very well. And I'm not falling through the floor. So that worked out very well. I took out Nocturnal and I put in a Shrine of Azura because I'm going to be playing a Dark Elf and I'm going to be using this house at least for a time, and they tend to worship Azura. So there's Azura, and I put Azura Star up there. I still needed to have something up here, so I added that round rug and Azura Star. I thought that looked pretty good there. We've got a wastebasket here. As you can see, it does respawn. This is the only container in the mod that does respawn. You have to leave this cell for 10 days in order for this thing to respawn. But if you have junk you want to get rid of, you can put it in here, and provided you're gone for 10 days, it will remove whatever is in there. And then I added a little safe right here. And that is safe storage. All the containers are safe storage except for this one, which obviously says it respawns. Let's see, over here I've added, well, you know, more Azura stuff. This is a Shrine of Azura, which I think gives you some magic resistance. Let's see, what does it do? Yeah, 10% magic resistance for 8 hours. So, you know, the whole Dark Elf Azura thing. Let's see, anything else here? I don't think so. I mentioned maybe I took that table out that was here and I shrunk that planter down a little bit because it was quite large. It's actually a vase, but I'm using it as a planter. Let's see, anything else? You know, there is something else downstairs. Oh, no, we got to use the ladder from here. So go around to the front here. I forgot to mention this. The turrets right there, I've moved them just a little bit. I moved each one of them outside. That one to the left, this one to the right. 8 units, which isn't much. And I moved them forward in this direction, 8 units. Which again isn't much, but I felt like they weren't quite pronounced enough, so I moved them out a little bit, and I think that looks a little bit better. It just they stand out a little bit more, and I think that looks a little bit better. Let's see, I changed out the light sources here too for the same reasons. They were bouncing around too much, but I did not change this one. As you can see, the illumination in this one is bouncing around quite a bit. I don't figure anybody's going to be spending a lot of time in here, so that didn't really matter. And I changed out the light source in here and replaced the candle with a torch. So that one's not annoying me either. I had this one set to... I set the emittance on this one as well, so it was off during the day and came on at night, but I changed it back because I like that to be illuminated, just so you can see what's in there and see where you're going. So that is about it. I've got one more little thing I need to work on. It's in the cell that the player won't have access to, so it doesn't really matter. I don't really have to mess with it. And nav mesh around this part of the building and nav mesh around this part of the building, and that is that. It is, I'd say 99% done. So now that I yapped on long enough, yeah, it's I like the way this thing turned out. It's very close to what I had envisioned when I started the mod, and I think that's really important, because if you have a vision in your mind's eye of what you want your mod to be, and then you start running into problems and you make exceptions here and there, then you end up with a mod, not your mod, you know. So this is really close to what I had envisioned when I started making this one. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. That is about it. So thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I'll have a showcase video up probably in a few days. Just got to finish up that nav mesh, and that's about it. So thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next video.